Hey jerks, so this is news time. It looks a lot worse than I expected. Cool? I guess you're wondering who I am. Your normal host, Chad White, has been replaced. There was a contract dispute between him and the network. Something about him wanting to get a paid living wage and not in Trident gum. They quickly decided to let him go. Now you're stuck with me, Thad Bright. Don't worry, I'm not here to replace your beloved host. I'm just here to take his spot for the rest of the series, which, by my estimate, should be at least one more episode. My first decree, no more abrupt, stupid one-liners at the end of cold opens leading into the theme song. This episode will start in 3, 2...
It's news time. Delivering to you the news you didn't know about, the news you didn't care about, and the news you didn't know you cared about. With host, Chad White. Now, here's that host, Chad White.
You can never get rid of me. Welcome back to News Time. I'm your host, Chad White, and this is the replacement news you didn't know about. Unlike this show, other shows are much more successful, and also unlike this show, there are real stars in front of those cameras, but my mom says I'm a star, so I'm okay. Okay, just kidding, she doesn't. So, shut up. But regardless, shows actually do go on without their main stars sometimes. Deaths happen, contract disputes happen, lies, they happen too. And one lie earlier this year really takes the cake. Jussie Smollett's tall tale of racial aggression may have been fabricated, but it did open up the conversation about whether or not a show could continue without one of its major players. Yes, Game of Thrones kills off its above-the-line people all the time. Whether or not that includes producers is not for me to say, but when they do it, it's to advance the plot. Many other shows have killed off main actors for one reason or another, but, be it racist remarks that many other white people will chalk up to mental health issues, like Roseanne, to a majority of actors dipping out due to their contracts expiring and the story simply being over, like Once Upon a Time or The Office. While Smollett's case was rather highly prolific, we still don't know the outcome of Fox and the executive producer's position. I don't know if prolific is the word, but let's just go with it here. His future is genuinely in limbo. The only question is, do people really still watch Empire? Back in 2003, a pretty basic sitcom called 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter was in the early episodes of the second season on ABC. The cast was filled with big names and the ratings were solid. Then came the real-life death of the patriarch of the fictional family, John Ritter. What do the writers and producers do with the situation? They work it into the remaining scripts. What's more is that they actually continue to utilize the death for the story. After the two-parter episode Goodbye, episodes 6, 7, and 8 all had major elements of the dead character and actor, whereas following episodes had lingering themes. Given that multi-camera sitcoms are shot relatively close to their air dates, this worked in the show's favor. The very same thing happened to Cheers almost 3 decades before, when Nicholas Colasanto, who played Coach, passed away towards the end of the show's 3rd season. It was addressed and referenced throughout the rest of the series, even after his character was replaced. Another major casting change came during the 70s series Charlie's Angels. Heartbreaker Farrah Fawcett famously left the series after the first season, even though the show was quickly rising in the ratings. Her reason? Because it became apparent that the only 2 reasons viewers were tuning in to each episode. Well, 6. 2 per leading lady. Yes, people were obsessed with the sex appeal of the show and not the sexy missions that they went on. Although she would go on to appear periodically in the show for 2 seasons due to her contract. Kate Jackson, who left the series after not getting along with Fawcett's new replacement and being denied time to co-star in Kramer vs. Kramer with Dustin Hoffman, too. There were more changes, but this is an online show nobody watches, and I don't want to do more work than I have to. So, there you go. Finally, there was Suzanne Somers' final Three's Company season. The show was incredibly popular, and all Somers wanted was equal pay with... Oh, crap. John Ritter? She wanted to jump from 30,000 episode to 150,000 plus 10% of the show's profit. ABC's rebuttal was just 5,000. She took a self-imposed hiatus from the show, some would call it a protest, and execs responded by making her role nigh obsolete. Her lines were replaced. She was reduced to a minute's worth of screen time for 7 episodes via the phone, and she was ultimately replaced. There were a ton of shows I missed. Hey, I can't cover everything, but you get the idea though, right? Networks are willing to let a decently rated series continue if something unplanned happens. Not even death can stop broadcast TV from taking a show from its time slot. I guess it's true what they say. The show must go on. Speaking of go on, why don't you going on and click on subscribe and check out one of our videos. Of course, you can head to the website cpluscomedy.com, which is still down, but I swear it'll be back up soon. You can follow us on Twitter at cpluscomedy. Follow me on Twitter at ChadBlackWhite. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram at those very same names. And be sure to listen to the Constitutionalist podcast, because you know what? It's a good show, and I hate talking to myself.